This disgusting, filthy vermin named Oyama can't help but complain about the baddie Akutsu who sits right next to him and is quite a troublesome girl. Moreover, her friends seem just as uncontrollable as her, not to mention annoying. Oyama is aware that she has a bit of a habit of skipping classes, and when she rarely attends them, she mostly tends to sleep. However, the worst thing that has ever happened to him is that Akutsu has made his room her own little hangout spot. It all started when they happened to meet in front of Oyama's house, and she just barged right in. Moreover, she seemed extremely delighted to find out that he lives alone, without any adult supervision. Sounds quite adventurous. Since then, she has obviously been coming over almost every day after school. Thankfully, she hasn't invited her group of friends to make it a fully fledged hangout spot, even though she can't even remember his name. She thinks it's his job to buy the latest magazine editions for her. He wonders if she has confused him with her personal errand boy. This girl also loves wrestling, and keeps trying all her moves on Oyama. She doesn't stop wrestling him even when he begs to give up. And the messed up part is that he secretly enjoys getting all beaten up by a girl. He wonders what will happen if a guy who turns out to be her boyfriend shows up one day demanding money from him in return for messing with his woman. He wouldn't be surprised, since she is not a regular girl. He might even be robbed someday by her or her band of goons. But his inner secret imagination wins over fears every time. Oyama is walking home thinking that he needs to figure out Akutsu's weakness to get her out of his room once and for all. His actions are completely the opposite though, since he goes inside and announces that he has bought the juice she wanted. Of course, he has to do whatever she commands since she scares him so much. It turns out that he's about 10 steps behind her, as she has found his weakness for the stunning videos. It's quite obvious with the amount of videotapes he has just lying around his room. He cannot afford to get this information leaked at school. The boys aren't a problem. However, he worries about what the girls will think about him. He begs Akutsu to keep her mouth shut about it, as his life will be over with this information out in the public. Akutsu is quite a devil when she puts on the videos on the TV and tells him to do what he does while watching them. This is the only way she will keep her mouth shut about his deranged habits. Furthermore, she has to keep his eyes open by force to make him watch the video. He is obviously uncomfortable, but she doesn't care as long as she's enjoying herself. He has had enough and decides to tell her off for torturing him, but all she has to do to stop his anger is show a little bit of her planets. And he cooled off immediately, making up his mind to tell her off the next day, as she hasn't told anyone what's happened here yet. It's a brand new day, and Akutsu is casually hanging out in Oyama's room as if it's the most obvious thing to do. She's lazing around on his bed while Oyama can't help but notice how nervous she makes him whenever she's around. He tries his luck, suggesting she go home. Of course it doesn't work, and she refuses to get off the bed since moving is just such a bother. She can't stop with a simple comment and challenges him to force her off the bed if he wants her to go home. He wonders why she always insists on applying force all the time. He looks at her miniskirt and knows that he'd have to touch her to get her off the bed. She gives him 2 minutes to start when he realizes that she has deliberately challenged him to do this since she's aware he doesn't have the guts to do it. Akutsu doesn't stop embarrassing him and passes a sly comment about him being an inexperienced guy. She really seems to enjoy that Oyama is embarrassed to touch a girl. His pride can't take all this embarrassment anymore and he finally makes a move. However, he only grabs her wrist, thinking it should be enough to make her move. Akutsu realizes that he is really ogling at her and hits him with full force, announcing that his 2 minutes are up. She can't let this opportunity go and decides to mock him even more for not being able to move her from his bed. Oyama's inner secret imagination actually doesn't mind if he keeps losing since it's the first time he's in bed with a girl. Even though it's because she beat him, he feels that nobody cares about those technicalities. It turns out that he is really looking forward to losing the next day as well. Akutsu is sleeping like a log in Oyama's room, but it's obviously problematic. He wonders where he is going to sleep if she takes up all that space on the bed. He tries to wake her up but remembers how angry she got when she was woken up by a teacher at school. She'll definitely be 10 times scarier and grumpier with him. He's too scared. However, he has to put his foot down. After all, it's his room and she has taken it over as if he doesn't exist. He musters up some courage and asks her to roll over since he wants her to get up and go home. Of course, her scary face even while she sleeps doesn't help much to keep his courage intact. He decides to proceed with this mission slowly and with extra caution. He doesn't want to trigger one of her world-famous outbursts. Before he can touch her, however, another thought crosses his mind. He worries that she might misunderstand him for touching her while he is only trying to wake her up. He doesn't even have any witnesses to prove his innocence. Therefore, he decides to let her sleep while she holds onto his arm, not wanting to get her all pissed off. Akutsu has arrived at her hangout spot at Oyama's room, and she looks quite busy on her phone. Oyama doesn't feel too happy with how loud she is when he hears her talking on the phone. This is when the thing he is afraid of most comes up, as apparently Akutsu's friend on the other line wants to come to her place. Oyama doesn't want her useless friends to come over and turn his room into their hangout spot forever, making him their servant and errand boy. His life will be truly over if that ever happens, and he'll probably end up homeless. He decides to stop her before she invites her friends over and goes straight to grab the phone from her. She obviously misunderstands this gesture as a desperate plea for a makeout session by Oyama. Thankfully, he makes it clear to her that she can't call anyone over to his room since he doesn't prefer strangers in his space. Surprisingly, Akutsu understands where he is coming from and promises that she won't tell anything about his room to her friends. However, Oyama does not look convinced and feels like the worst-case scenario is going to happen in the near future. Well, she might actually be telling the truth since his room is her own personal hangout spot and she has decided to hide it from everyone else. Maybe it's so good that she doesn't want to share it with anyone, including Oyama. She prepares to sleep while Oyama seems a little relieved with her plans, asking her to never unlock the door for anyone except for him. It's school time when Akutsu and her band of friends are discussing how some of them make money by showing their no-no area. Being seen is just no big deal for them. Oyama is absolutely certain that they have no morals, while promising that he wasn't looking at her female boxers earlier. Well, of course, we believe him. Later that day, Akutsu is back in his room as usual, trying to play a video game which is giving her a hard time. Her boxers were showing with the way she sits, and Oyama can't help but think she is showing it to him on purpose. He wonders if she's trying to collect money from him as well. He can't let her find out that he has been looking since he is scared that she will make his life a living hell. He might not even be able to graduate, or worse, everyone will come to know that he looks at girls' boxers. He has to play it cool, and not let her notice that his eyes have been on her. However, she makes it extremely difficult for him to ignore her when she starts spreading her legs. Someone please tell her to calm down and keep those legs together. Finally, she notices that he has been watching her, which freaks him out. He immediately offers to do anything for her to keep quiet, since he doesn't have any money to offer. However, his fears are drowned out when she offers to show him her female boxer briefs for free, as a special treatment since he lets her use his games and manga. Oyama can't deny such a generous peace offering, of course. A few moments later, he is over the moon after receiving his private showing, but makes sure to remind her to keep this a secret. Akutsu is in his room again, but this day is different since she leaves for her home. He knows that she has been injured. Maybe she was in a fight. This day has been especially scary for him since she's in a bad mood. Moreover, after she leaves, he finds out that she has forgotten her phone. He can give it back if he chases her. However, he questions if she is worth all this trouble. Staring at the phone, he is aware that he is especially interested as he thinks he might have finally seen her weak side. Maybe she lost a fight or something while she is always teasing him with a smirk on her face. He shakes off his thoughts and picks up her phone. He clicks on the video which shows him that Akutsu's son has been trying to play with a cat, realizing that she has some cute traits as well. It turns out that she was in a bad mood after not being able to touch the cat, and that's how she got scratched and injured. He is so confused after finding out a completely different side to her. Meanwhile, Akutsu has returned back to his room and is not happy about the fact that he has watched that embarrassing video of hers. However, Oyama is glad that he has found one likable quality about her. Akutsu is extremely pissed since her hands are injured, but doesn't want to reveal how she got injured in the first place. Oyama obviously knows the reason and makes the suggestion that she should go to the hospital. The main agenda behind his suggestion is to make her leave. Of course, she becomes hysterical after hearing this and refuses to go to the hospital or do anything that he wants her to do. He realizes that he has to do something before she gets really hurt, and is glad that she has admitted that her wounds are hurting. He thinks of something fast and comes up with the solution to give her something sweet. Ice cream obviously will work the best in this situation. He offers her the ice cream, which works totally against his favor as it's frozen, and it hurts her while she tries to eat it. She is even more pissed now. She cries out in pain, asking for him to help her eat. Oyama obviously only thinks about his own secretly imaginative benefit and is hoping that her hand could be in pain the next day as well. He questions whether he wants to keep feeding her desserts every day or if he is simply being too sadistic and enjoying other people's discomfort. The next day, Oyama asks Akutsu if she has exercised today. Of course, she has run too much and now her foot hurts. It is revealed that she was running from the student counselor, Sasaki, after school and hidden in Oyama's room since it's so close to their campus. Her little marathon has made her tired, so she lays down on the bed, asking Oyama to give her a massage. Oyama obviously doesn't want to give this troublesome girl a massage until he sneaks a peek at her boxers. Ultimately, he decides that he has to give her a massage to stop her from turning into her scary self. He starts off with a massage, which makes Akutsu sigh out loud. Touching her body is causing weird sensations in Oyama's brain as well. However, he's too embarrassed after hearing her soft sounds so loudly. He wonders what the neighbors will think when they hear her double-meaning comments. Finally, he decides to use this rare opportunity to take his revenge for being tortured by her every day. He relaxes his hands and prepares to apply as much force on her as he can. He has to go all the way to make any difference to her. However, her soft sighs continue to get louder. He wonders if his aggressive massage is simply not having any effect on her. Soon after, Akutsu becomes quiet, and there's a strange atmosphere in the room. Oyama doesn't know where to touch her anymore since he can't forget her little soft sighs from before. Soon enough, Akutsu tells her to stop massaging her as she is feeling better now. If this continues, then maybe she's afraid that she won't be able to control her shouts and soft sighs any longer, which might end up alerting the neighbors more than Oyama would like. Oyama is sleeping on his bed when Akutsu arrives, telling him to get off her spot. He wonders if she has forgotten that it is actually his bed. She tries really hard to make him move over or wake him up, but to no success. It looks like he really is asleep. However, it turns out that Oyama is actually pretending to be asleep and is not going to get up at all. He is not going to let her take over his bed today. It's his turn to rest. Finally, Akutsu soon really wants to play some video games, which is exactly why Oyama has preoccupied the most comfortable spot in the room in advance, indirectly telling her to go home. Oyama hears a shutter sound from nearby and is extremely curious about what is happening around him. Since he can't see anything with his eyes closed, he is determined to not move, even if she kicks him. However, she does something even more scary as she is taking selfies with him lying on the bed, announcing that she will use these pictures to threaten him someday. She wants to take this game a step further and do something more extreme. So, she gets up on the bed, which scares Oyama even more since he has already heard the word threaten. Meanwhile, Akutsu takes a selfie by revealing a bit of her balloons, which makes Oyama even more nervous, and he can't help but change the expression on his face. He wonders if he should get up and put a stop to this act. However, he can't risk pissing her off for pretending to be asleep this whole time. This is when she takes a close-up picture of his face, saying that his face looks like he knows exactly what's going on around him. She moves closer to him, trying to figure out if he is actually asleep, and wonders why he never looks her in the eye. Well, maybe he's too busy looking elsewhere. Oyama's efforts do not turn out to be a success, since Akutsu doesn't go home and decides to read some manga in his room instead. Akutsu has been reading manga on Oyama's bed and looks extremely engrossed in the story. She may not have realized that her posture is making her boxers too obvious for Oyama, who wants her to leave even more than before. Turning around, she confirms if he has been glaring at her. Oyama obviously tries to disprove her accusations, but she is willing to fight to prove herself right. Furthermore, Oyama can't take the risk of her exposing him since he will be given a straightaway death sentence by society. Meanwhile, she has taken him in a judo stranglehold, telling him to say that he has been looking at her or she will not let him go. He decides to play it safe and ask for her forgiveness. However, she's not in a mood to show any kind of mercy. Of course, he can't tell her he wants her to go home either, since she is so soft and smells so good. He is clearly getting distracted by all this feminine energy, and there's an awkward moment between them when she turns him around. After this, her stranglehold becomes more gentle when she tells him to confess whatever he has seen or thought about her. This feels like a lose-lose situation for him. Akutsu wants to eat dessert today and wants Oyama to buy something sweet and salty for her. He of course obliges and soon returns back after bringing whatever she wanted. When he comes near his door, he hears her screaming from inside. This annoys him even more, who has just planned to chase her away by scaring her off with cockroaches. He enters the room and finds Akutsu on the floor, looking extremely scared by a cockroach. She is so panicky that she doesn't even realize that Oyama has returned. He is glad that she is a normal girl who is scared of cockroaches, even after being so scary. She even decides that she doesn't want to stay at his place anymore since it is infested with cockroaches. It's good news for him, of course, but it turns out that she doesn't even move from her place, even after 5 minutes. He's enjoying watching her experience the fear that she instilled in him. Being this cowardly is definitely not very fun. He's been standing outside his door, watching her quietly, thinking that he doesn't like cockroaches in his room after all. He decides to go in there and save her, but finds her looking too pissed. She might take out her anger and fear on him. It turns out that she is crying and wants Oyama to return as soon as possible, which makes him glad that he is wanted in such a situation. He leaves her to her own devices for a while, as it will be hard for him to pretend to be normal after hearing her pleas. Today has certainly been a good day for his ego. Akutsu has a favor to ask Oyama this time, and before she can say anything about what it is, he instantly refuses. There's no trust, since he can't really expect anything good from her. This is too frustrating for Akutsu, as she wants to first tell him what it is she wants. Before he leaves, she tells him that she wants to do it with him. Now, this catches Oyama's attention and excitement lights up his face. His hopes and dreams are crushed when Akatsu's son pulls out a handout for supplementary lessons, because she got a penalty for violating school regulations. She has noticed that Oyama's face has lost its excitement, and offers to let him experience her planets if he helps her out with the schoolwork. Naturally, no one wants to be expelled. He knows that this is a trap to make him do all of her work, so he refuses, even if he means he doesn't get to touch her intimately. Akutsu loses her cool since she will most definitely be kicked out of her house if she gets expelled. Of course, it's not a big deal for Oyama, who has already been kicked out of his place. She decides to live in his room if she gets kicked out, and this is reason enough for him to help her out. He can't take the chance of letting her live at his place forever and does all of her work. Moreover, he doesn't even touch her watermelons after being done, which is quite surprising. Oyama is going home late today since his sensei wanted him to finish up some things before he leaves. He stayed there long and even read some manga. He hopes that Akutsu has given up and gone home, but when he reaches near his room, he is welcomed with Akutsu banging on the door, acting like a debt collector. She clearly does not take a hint. She's really angry at him as she thinks that he is ignoring her, which makes Oyama laugh out loud in front of her. She can be surprisingly childish sometimes. She puts her hands in her pockets, which makes him think that she's pulling out a weapon to shred him to bits. However, she just wants to make sure he doesn't keep her waiting and pulls out her phone. They can trade contact information and call each other the next time something like this happens. His heart pounds since it's his first time getting a girl's contact info. Well, there's a first time for everything. Oyama is approached by one of his classmates at school who seems fascinated that he lives alone. He's interested to find out how he manages and wants to see if he can stop by his place today. This is when his eyes fall over to Akutsu, who's sleeping on the desk next to him, and tells the guy that it's impossible for them to come over today. Of course, they think that he's refusing because he has a girlfriend. It is a good idea. So, Oyama plays along, agreeing that he actually does have a girlfriend. It turns out that Akutsu has listened to their conversation and is teasing Oyama about calling her his girlfriend. This makes him extremely embarrassed and apologetic. While Akutsu only wants to know if he actually feels this way about her. He might have even boasted about being really intimate with her. Akutsu believes that a plain guy like him will be exposed soon, as everyone will find out that he lied about having a girlfriend. She suggests that he can avoid it by making his lie a reality. His reaction is too funny for her to control herself, while Oyama just wants to leave her right away. He obviously can't take all this teasing right now. It's raining quite heavily today, which makes Oyama think that maybe Akutsu won't come over today. It is obvious that no one can travel when the weather conditions are this bad. Well, a little bad weather is not going to stop Akutsu. Soon enough, she's standing at his door, completely drenched because of the rain. She complains about the rain starting suddenly, which is pointless because the rain never informs you beforehand. She enters his place, dripping all of the water on his floors. It's going to take ages to clean this up. Furthermore, she finds out that her shirt is see-through now and wants Oyama to take a look as well. She takes off her shirt in front of him, making the poor guy close his eyes out of utter embarrassment. Now, she wants to take a shower at his place. This is getting really out of hand for Oyama, but she doesn't care and just wants to get rid of all of the stickiness that has made her so uncomfortable. Maybe she could have stayed home and not gotten caught in the middle of a downpour. He tries to give her the towel without looking at her, and she has a problem with this as well. Just because she's aware that he likes looking at her topless self, he should have the guts to look at her without feeling shy. Oyama doesn't want to be played into her hands with all the teasing and tries to keep his cool. However, she still believes that he is a secret imagination who will use the towel that she rubs all over her body later on. On top of this, she starts sneezing, which makes Oyama scared. He figures that she is about to catch a cold. Akutsu doesn't even listen to his advice about drying herself before she comes down with influenza or something. She's the one who actually should be embarrassed about standing in the middle of the room in her boxers and yelling at the poor guy. However, she takes this opportunity to mock him for being an inexperienced guy. He wonders how this could possibly be a good time for such a conversation. She sneezes again, which is funny because Oyama finds her sneezes quite feminine. Watching him standing right there and grinning is quite frustrating for her, making her speechless for the first time since he has met her. Akutsu is not drenched anymore and has changed into exercise clothes. This is quite a new development for Oyama, who has never seen her in these clothes, even during PE class. She complains about her clothes stinking of sweat, which isn't surprising. They are exercise clothes after all. Turns out that these clothes are always in her bag, as she needs it for gym and PE almost every day. He highly doubts if she even remembers the last time she washed them. I doubt it. Things don't get better for Oyama as now Akutsu wants him to lend her some clothes. She obviously can't stand her own stink anymore. He has never seen anyone wear his clothes except for maybe his own self. Looking at his hesitation, Akutsu decides to jump on his bed. telling him that if he does not give her the clothes, then she will start exercising on top of his bed. He has to give her what she wants if he doesn't want his bed covered in sweat. Oyama wonders if her sweat on his bed would be as bad as she's trying to make it sound, but he decides that he doesn't want to find out. He gives her a sweatshirt, which makes her happy, thankfully. A comfortable sweatshirt is certainly enjoyable in a chilly room. On the other hand, Oyama can't stop thinking that she's wearing his clothes, and since she only has one pair of boxers, it means that it hasn't touched the clothes she's wearing. His pervy thoughts really are unstoppable. Akutsu decides to play around with him even more, asking if he has washed the sweatshirt she is wearing. He is taken aback by this question, as he knows that the shirt looks pretty clean. One day at school, it's lunchtime when Oyama is on his way to buy lunch when he's called over by someone. He turns around and finds Akuto-san with her good-for-nothing friends, who ask him if he's going to buy lunch. The other girls ask if he can buy bread for them, and demands that she wants melon bread. Oyama is clearly not happy about being treated like a waiter, thinking that all he does is get other people's things. He has to take a stand for himself and reject them right here. But of course, he's too scared to say no to them. So, he gets their lunch for them. But it looks like Akutsu isn't happy with him for helping out her friends. He feels worse now, and he thinks that he's getting rough treatment at school. Maybe someone should tell him that it could have been a lot worse, and he got off easy. Later in the evening, Akutsu is in his room reading her usual manga when he decides to apologize to her for what happened at school since he feels like she's in a bad mood. Before he can say anything, she calls him and brings up the incident, which makes him wonder if she's mad that he tried to reject her friends. However, her question totally shocks him as she wants to know why he didn't reject them. It turns out that she was giving him a signal to reject them, which he completely misunderstood. Furthermore, she is really mad that he was being so friendly with those girls. Oyama points out that he didn't think she would be mad, since she's always asking him to get things for her too. He's making a good point here, folks. Akutsu reveals that it bothers her when Oyama gets things for other people, but she can't explain why exactly it's bothering her. She wants him to reject them next time as it's a pain for her when he's the center of attention. Oyama's heart is pounding after hearing her claim him as her own, which is an interesting development. Oyama has caught a cold and has taken a break from school, resting on his bed. Akutsu probably knows that he is resting, which means that she might not come today, and he can have a lazy day at home. Being sick and alone is really painful for him. But the bright side is that it's better than Akutsuan coming over every day. His little vacation doesn't last long, and 10 minutes later, Akuto-san arrives, declaring that she had no idea he wasn't at school, as she was taking a nap in the nurse's office the whole day. He suggests that she should go home if she doesn't want to catch his cold, but she is persistent and wants to stay anyway. This makes him daydream that she might look after him while he's sick, wiping off his sweat and making porridge for him. However, she bursts his little bubble by saying that she won't have to attend school if she catches a cold. This girl is clearly bad news. She's searching how people pass colds while Oyama can only feel stupid about expecting her to look after him. He wants her to go until she reads out that kissing is the best option for transferring colds. This shocks Oyama, who can't believe that she is actually considering kissing just to catch a cold. He is amazed that she is so desperate to avoid attending school. She continues to lean over him, and Oyama knows that she is just trying to fool him once again. Her games never end, as he doesn't want to give her the satisfaction of being flustered. He's right, and Akutsu drops the idea of kissing, saying that she might catch a cold if they stay in the same space, and she starts playing her video games. Oyama is supposed to take a break from school and rest, but Akutsu has ruined it all for him. He desperately needs her to go back home if he ever wants to get better. However, he finds her tugging at him, asking him to take off his clothes. She has brought a bowl and is wiping his sweat since he is completely drenched in it. Oyama can't believe that she is actually nursing him, wondering if there is something she wants him to do for being so kind. Maybe she'll blackmail him on the internet. He's so scared of getting a bad reputation that he wants her to stop now. She continues to wipe his sweat off while commenting on the color of his skin, which is a bit inappropriate until he can't take it anymore. Oyama shouts out asking why she is doing so much for him. Her reason is the same as before, as she reveals that she is hoping to catch his cold if she stays close to him. Besides, she wants him to nurse her when she gets sick as well. This comment makes Oyama's brain draw too many graphic pictures of him wiping away the sweat from her body, and he starts coughing. Akutsu guesses that he is probably imagining something LWD, and doesn't seem to care much about it. In the end, she doesn't go back home, but remains energetic throughout the day. Akutsu wants to know why Oyama talks so politely, and gets offended that he thinks she is mannerless. Now she wants him to pay her 100 yen whenever he talks politely. This would mean that Oyama will have to give her all of his life savings. He is charged 100 yen when he adds son to her name, making him wonder if this is a new style of extortion, since she knows that he can't be a delinquent with other girls. He stays quiet for a bit, and Akutsu calls it cheating, as staying silent is off limits in this bet. She really is a demon who enjoys looking at his reactions while taking his money. Maybe he should try to surprise her by talking without any manners just like she does. So, he starts to form a sentence, but is unable to complete it because it's scary and embarrassing for him. She mocks him for being an inexperienced guy, yet again, while collecting his money. She guesses that it's too high a hurdle for him since he can't talk to girls normally, and talking to them like a delinquent is completely out of the question. He defends himself by telling her that he can talk to other girls like a delinquent, just not to her. He has actually dug his own grave because she might tell him to talk to girls at school the next day. However, her reaction is the opposite of what he expected as she looks pissed while laying down on the couch. She doesn't go home and sulks the entire time. Akutsu-san and Nuyama are doing some arm wrestling and she wins twice in a row, which means that she will get 2 ice creams according to the stakes they had agreed upon. She thinks that he is a weak bean sprout while he can't actually exert much power because holding her hands is too embarrassing for him. She beats him again, wanting them to move on to some muscle training. However, Oyama doesn't want to do it as he really doesn't need it. Akutsu-san is shocked to hear him deny after she called him weak, a bean sprout, an introvert, and an inexperienced guy. Well, these are not the only names she has mocked him with, though he chooses not to count. She isn't going to listen to his refusal, promising to turn him into a muscular beast with all of her exercising tips. She wants him to start off with a few sit-ups, but their bodies keep touching during the workout session. Meanwhile, Oyama thinks he can actually scare her into going home after he has muscles, getting all the revenge he wants. Suddenly, he gets really enthusiastic and starts doing sit-ups with more effort as he really wants those muscles now. Akutsu is impressed after he does one sit-up. However, he doesn't have the energy to do it anymore. Their muscle training lasts for about 5 minutes until Oyama completely gives up. Akutsu has brought over a horror movie to watch today. Oyama isn't impressed since he's not good with horror flicks. He gets happy to see her finally go home when she starts walking towards the door. However, his dreams are crushed when she turns off the lights, really excited about the movie they are about to watch together. It's a bad situation for Oyama, who is not only worried about the movie, but also about what Akutsu is going to do. The constant fear is truly overwhelming for him. Suddenly, she starts screaming about how scary the movie is, and hugs him from behind. He wonders what this woman is planning on doing to him now. She looks really scared, but still finds a way to make him uncomfortable by asking if his heart was pounding because of the movie or because of her. He doesn't say much to her in reply, since she looks genuinely afraid. The movie continues and Akutsu tries to act cool in front of him, making fun of him for being scared until a scary scene appears on screen and she clutches onto him. Furthermore, she makes fun of his reactions whenever she hugs him, but all he can think about is how he wants to protect her when she's scared. Akutsu comes over during the weekend, screaming at Oyama to open the door for her. This new pattern is not good news for him, as he just wants to be left alone on the weekends. Maybe he should pretend to be out, but realizes that if he opens the door, he might see Akutsu's son in her casual clothes. He thinks this will be a nice change from her usual uniform. He opens the door to find her complaining about her karaoke appointment, which got cancelled. However, he can't help but notice that her outfit is truly hideous. As she lays down on the bed, he is scolding himself for misjudging her casual wear until she suggests that they should play a game. Looking at his sour attitude, Akutsu wraps her arms around him from behind, asking him why he's being such a buzzkill. However, Oyama feels worse than before after she touches him, mostly because of what she's wearing. She starts blushing after he compliments her outfit for fitting so well and wants to show him the different colors she has in the same outfit. She can be cute when she's happy, while Oyama looks forward to more weekends like this. Akutsu still hadn't left when she came over during the weekend. She is lounging on his bed when Oyama hears her frustrated scream when she loses yet another game. She then exclaims that she needs a break and expresses how hungry she is. He offered her some instant noodles, but she reminded him to not eat just that and offered to make him something to eat. As she is buzzing around the kitchen, he is contemplating the intentions of her sudden action. He wonders if she is planning a prank or something similar. A mental image of her pouring a ridiculous amount of Tabasco on his food comes to mind. At that moment, she calls to tell him the food is done. Seeing the plate of fried rice, he realizes that he might just get hospitalized. He can only call it repulsive, and he wonders if he can handle eating it. Right then, she starts talking about how she is often alone at home, and she makes this fried rice. Despite its appearance, she tells him it's edible, and that it is the first time she has made it for someone else. Even though he is still scared to try it, he decides to eat it in one go. Surprisingly, the food is delicious. He compliments her cooking skills and even says that he can eat it for the rest of his life. He tells her he loved it. She blushes upon hearing his words, and he notices. He immediately stands up to tell her he meant the fried rice. She then insists that she understood and that there is no need to get so worked up. Still blushing, she tells him that she can make it for him again on the next day off. This only makes him anticipate the next weekend. Today, Akutsu came over again and is currently asleep. Oyama was finally free, but then his classmate suddenly shows up, wanting to take a look at his room. He was taken aback, panicking at the thought of them seeing her. He quickly covers her with a blanket before they enter. His classmate remarks about the stuff he was hiding, and he insisted it was nothing. When one of them tried to touch it, he threw himself onto the bed, yelling for them to not touch it. That was when Akutsu reaches from under the blanket and drags him with her, thinking he wanted to continue their wrestling match. Oyama had to prevent them from seeing her face, so he hugged her from behind while they were still on their knees and leaning on the bed. She is taken back, blushing due to the suggestive position they are suddenly in. His classmates then take their leave, leaving Oyama relieved that they are not exposed. She asks him to release her, still embarrassed by their position. He apologizes profusely, and she says she understood the situation. She menacingly asks if their memory should be erased, but he insists they didn't notice. As these two continue to spend their time together, it's uncertain where exactly their relationship may go. They can only wonder what the future holds as they continue to navigate their strange relationship. Oyama just receives a call from home asking him to return for the weekend. He is startled to find Akutsu suddenly appearing behind him and asking if he was going back to his parents' house. She assumes he will stop living alone, and her expression turns gloomy. She begs him not to go home, explaining that she likes this place since there are new manga on release day and snacks that are bought immediately, and also because it is a calming place for her to make fun of him. He realizes that it might be more than just a convenience for her. She turns to leave and he stops her. He, who has been wanting to do exactly that for a long time, actually stops her. He clarifies that he's only going home for a short time and that he likes being there with her. Akutsu is embarrassed and says he misunderstood her, that she only likes his place and finds him funny and delusional. When she leaves to go to the toilet, Oyama is horrified at his mistake and what feelings are leading them. Akutsu is also confused by her feelings, her heart beating fast as she contemplates what he said. She wonders why she feels so excited because of him. It's uncertain where these strange emotions will take them. Akutsu is currently reading manga on his bed, and Oyama wonders how she is able to continue coming over despite what happened last time. He has to do something to send her home before she brings it up. Because of what happened, he has become conscious of her. While he is deep in thought, she's trying to get him to retrieve the next volume of the manga series. She starts poking his back to get his attention when he tells her to get it herself. He figures that if he acts coldly, she'll finally go home. Akutsu is irritated to hear this from him, so she continues poking his back aggressively, demanding an explanation for his attitude. He is forced to stand up from his place on the bed to escape the attack. However, he can't help but notice that her reactions are different from before, gentler. He wonders if she is becoming conscious of him as well. She suddenly comes up to him and he is startled by their closeness. She then proceeds to tell him that he's acting weird for a while and that it's disgusting. She then demands that he get the next volume quickly. He decides that he is totally wrong. As he rushes to get the manga, he tells himself that she is scary and yet he still thinks she is pretty. Akutsu, on the other hand, is flustered. It turns out she's been being harsh because she's conscious of him too. Oyama wakes in the middle of the night to Akutsu lying beside him. He is panicking and he doesn't know what happened. Since she is ruffled due to sleep, he is seeing things that he's not meant to. He wonders what's up with this manga situation. He recalls going to bed and Akutsu telling him she'll go home after she finishes reading. Yet, she didn't go home. He needs to get away so there would be no misunderstandings. However, he can't move because she has taken his hand hostage. He recalls that something very similar happened before. He wonders if she has a bad sleeping habit. He successfully gets his hand free. Yet, it is short-lived when she grasps his hand yet again. Only this time, it's worse since she starts feasting on his chicken fingers. The entire night is a struggle with him trying to stop her. The next morning, Akutsu is marveling at what a good sleep she's had. She notices that she fell asleep at Oyama's place. She approaches the cowering boy to ask him if he stayed up all night. Meanwhile, he is staring at his swollen fingers. Yet again, Akutsu came over. This time, she notices that Oyama is cleaning his ear again, even though he just did it yesterday. He explains that it's bothering him for some time now. She then suggests that she set light on it and look at it herself. He wants to refuse, claiming it is dirty, but she instead wants to find out what's wrong. That's how he ends up on her lap with her telling him not to move. He nervously asks her if she's done this before. When she answers that she has in fact not done it before, he gets even more scared. She plays around first, teasing the shape of his ear. He immediately tells her to quit it. She then starts using the ear pick on him while saying some pretty sussy words. She tells him how deep it is and asks him if it feels amazing feeling it so deep. She then notices that he's shaking. She asks him why he's scared even though he's a man. He confesses that he fears she will hurt him and asks her to be more gentle with him. Somehow this makes her flustered, causing her to move the ear pick in a certain way, earning a pain yelp from him. The discomfort in his ear was gone. Akutsu comes to his house again and tells him she's staying over. She had a fight with her parents and she ran away from home. Oyama asks her why she can't just stay at a friend's house, and she said that they have boyfriends so it would be wrong. She suddenly undresses in front of him, making him flustered. Turns out she's just changing into something more comfortable. Somehow, even though she's stayed here before, he gets excited by the situation. He is about to agree since he assumes that it's only for one night, when she insists that she wouldn't go home for at least a month, showing him the loungewear she bought. His immediate thought is that he wanted to see her wearing them. He started saying how things would not work if she stayed there, especially because of school, but she said that she'll go from there. He then thinks that he didn't know anything in particular about her family situation, and it's probably difficult. He is shocked when she claims a drawer, intending to use it for her boxers and such. He asks her again if she really does intend to stay for a month. She answers him by saying that she has nowhere else to go. He then thinks of the scenario if he turned her down. He instantly worries that she'll get caught by a bad guy if she just walks around at night. Oyama relents and tells her she can stay over. Akutsu instantly asks him if the reason he agreed is that he's thinking of sussy stuff. When he admits that he just got worried, she gets flustered and starts stuttering. Suddenly, she gets a call and starts screaming at the person. Turns out it was a call from home. He assumes again that there is something intense going on, only for him to find out that the fight was about her mom eating her ice cream. They made up soon and she went home. When Akutsu came again today, Oyama asked her to take home the stuff she left in his house. She probed him if he meant her loungewear and other stuff from when she was about to stay over, her toothbrush and her boxers too. He keeps on answering yes, absent-mindedly, and takes it back with the last item. He swears he forgot that her boxers were there when he opened the drawer. She starts teasing him about it, and even suggests he was using the boxers for a certain activity. Oyama, who's extremely flustered, insists that he doesn't do such things. She then proceeds to say that she'll just leave her things there in case she stays over. He, on the other hand, really just wants her to take the stuff and go home. Not yet done with her teasing, Akutsu even says that she's fine with him using them as long as he washes them. She even tells him that he owes her 500 yen each time he does it. He has taken it back and exclaims that he has never done such a thing. He explains to her that if her things stay here, he won't be able to store his own things. She challenges him that if he can give the boxer briefs to her, she'd take her stuff home. He knows that she is asking for something impossible to piss him off, so he brilliantly sandwiched the boxers between her clothes to avoid touching them. She is shocked and calls him a loser for not touching a piece of cloth. She continues to dig in the drawer, only to fish out a sussy boxer, and embarrassed quickly snatches the item from him. She is flustered for a moment, and she is unable to speak. Faking her laughter, she tells him that she placed those there to make him flustered. She insists that she does not normally wear them. She ended up not taking her stuff home anyway. Akutsu came over during the weekend again. Oyama asks her to get out of bed so he can air out the sheets. However, she is firm on not leaving the bed no matter how much he pleads. He tells her that it's good weather to air them out. She tells him that when there's good weather, it means it's time to play. She mocks him for being shut in. He thinks to himself that she's one to talk when she's in his room all day. She tells him that he should dry them when she's not there. He thinks that that would be difficult for him since she does not tell him when she will not be there. She continues teasing him, even suggesting that if he really wants her to move, he should move for himself, which of course he won't, because according to her, he's an inexperienced guy who can't touch a girl. Oyama instead tells her that even she would find dirty sheets disgusting. She answers him, saying that she doesn't care if the sheets are dirty, as long as she can freely roll on them. She even suggests that she knows what he can do on top of the futon, her face showing mischievousness. Changing his tactics, he simply tells her that she's fine with dirty sheets. He'll leave her alone. She protests by saying that she's fine with it because it's Oyama's. Both of them freeze, and she instantly regrets what she said. Flustered and embarrassed, she tells him that the sheets really do stink, and he should air them out immediately. As they spend time together, more and more things are being revealed between them. Akutsu is complaining about how her head is hurting, saying that her parents hit her. Worried, Oyama instantly asks her if she's okay. She explains that her mom flipped out when she ate her ice cream. He's relieved to know that it wasn't a serious fight. She asks him if there's a bump on her head, but he can't see it just by looking. Thinking that he won't actually do it, she tells him to touch it, and yet, he touches her head. In a serious manner, he tells her that her head is a bit swollen. He notices that she started trembling, so he removes his hand, thinking he hurt her. She is shocked that he touched her without hesitation, seemingly doing it out of concern. He starts to leave, saying that he will buy some ice when she stops him. She asks him to check for a bump again, wanting him to touch her head again. She is confused and doesn't know what's happening, but when he does, she can't believe what she's feeling. She wonders why being touched by him actually feels so good. She wonders how she will deal with all these emotions whenever she is around him. Akutsu comes over again, and she is trying to distract him from playing games. Her feet are swung over his shoulders from behind, which makes it hard for Oyama to concentrate. Suddenly, her legs become numb. She can't move, and she insists that he should not move, or it will not end up too well. It was not the worst feeling for him, but he can't move either. Suddenly, she wraps her arms around his head when the cramps start getting worse. He tells her that he can't move in this position, becoming more aware of something warm and soft pressing against his head. She pleads for him to stay like that for a while with a voice that, to his horror, he finds stunning. Realizing that Akutsu is in a vulnerable state, he decides to take revenge for all the times she's terrorized him. He starts touching her feet to torment her. Surely enough, he gets hit afterwards. Clearly, he did not plan his revenge well. Once again, Akutsu is at Oyama's place. She's trying to convince him to let her stay over. However, he tells her that her constant coming over is troubling him. An irritated Akutsu demands to know how exactly she's troubling him. Not being able to stand the constant flapping sound, he tells her to stop what she's doing with her skirt. Turns out she's been constantly flapping her skirt due to the heat. She insists that he look at her. She tells him that she will really go home if he doesn't turn around to face her. He thinks to himself that if she stays there, he won't be able to relax, since she only sees him as her gopher. She then says that she'll do anything if he lets her stay. Immediately upon hearing this, he wants to let her stay. He realized, however, that it's a trap. Unexpectedly, she relents and tells him she'll hang out in someone else's place. He is taken aback, especially when she tells him that she has other places to hang around. A mental image of Akutsu going to some other guy's place horrified him. Instantly, he tells her that he's fine with her staying there. Chuckling, she teases him, thinking that he agreed because she said she'll do anything, calling him a secret imagination. However, she is startled when he starts crawling towards her, reminding her that she said she'll do anything. With a nervous expression, she tries to speak as he comes closer, but she's only able to shriek when he ends up on top of her. However, she did not expect the words he said. He pleads with her to not go to another guy's house. After a moment of time just staring at each other, she admits that she's not really close with any other guy, and she met at Misaki's place earlier. She then proceeds to tease him about what he said. He is so embarrassed that he actually wants to go home. Oyama worries when a lighter falls out of Akutsu's pocket while she's in the bathroom. He knows that if the landlord finds out she's smoking, they will both get in trouble. He debates if he should try to get her to stop since she's still a minor. When he steps out of the bathroom, he unexpectedly asks her if he can smell her. In his defense, he was trying to find out if she smokes and utter those words without thought. She is confused. Unfortunately, he's able to ask her about the lighter normally. She explains that it's her mom's and she has no idea why it's on her. She proceeds to tease him, saying that if he doubts she doesn't smoke, he can still smell her. He explains that he only meant that smoking is bad for her health and worries that it may endanger any future children she has. He quickly backtracks, embarrassed by what he said. She is surprised and embarrassed by his words. Oyama immediately backtracks, saying that he means in the future after she's married or something. An embarrassed Akutsu went to the bathroom, imagining various things. Akutsu is fuming as she complains about being called out by her teacher for her inappropriate appearance. She wonders what is so wrong with her look. She has blonde hair and piercings, and wasn't even wearing the school uniform. Oyama, trying to explain, accidentally said that everything about her is inappropriate. This makes her even angrier, and she accuses him of making fun of her. He quickly corrects himself, saying that he meant her hair and piercings. Akutsu then jokingly asks Oyama if he prefers black-haired serious girls. This makes him think of Akutsu with black hair looking prim and proper. He replies that it depends on the person, and that he personally likes her the way she is. Akutsu is taken aback by his words and blushes, accusing him of saying something gross. Oyama panics and apologizes, trying to explain that he means he likes girls like her. Akutsu couldn't understand why his words make her happy. The next day, the teacher demands to know why Akutsu hadn't changed her appearance. As always, Akutsu is in his room. He's drinking from a can when he realizes that he's drinking from Akutsu's son's can. Flustered, he apologizes and tells her he will wipe it off. She notices his embarrassment and teases him about it. He wonders if he's being that obvious. She asks for the drink back, but he refuses. He offers to buy her a new can instead. Yet, she insists, telling him that she does not mind indirect kisses since she's not a 5-year-old. Oyama thinks about how he's overthinking it. Without fail, she starts teasing him, exclaiming how he's stealing her lips. Irritated, he reminds her of what she just said about not being a 5-year-old. She starts licking the opening of the can, which makes him even more flustered. He tries getting the can from her. She continues mocking him, claiming that only virgins care about indirect kisses. He accidentally bumped into her head, causing his lips to touch her face. He apologizes to her, explaining that he was only reaching for the can again. She chooses to mock him, saying that he forcefully kissed her. He immediately starts explaining that he simply bumped into her. Incredibly flustered, he leaves to buy a new can of juice. Turns out it was the first time a boy has kissed her. One can only wonder how many secrets will be revealed about Akutsu. It remains to be seen whether their shaky friendship will remain just that or if it will lead to something more. Akutsu comes late one evening. She explains that she was at a karaoke bar and proceeds to tell him that she was not so wholesomely touched on her way there. He is shocked and instantly demands if she's okay. She tells him it's not a big deal. He wonders if she even reported the incident to the police. Akutsu is still a girl and can be easily overpowered. She then tells him that she gave the guy a good kick right in the balls. However, he tells her that she should stop coming over if it's too late, insisting that it's dangerous. She tells him that she'll be fine and that she's not a kid anymore. He explains that he's only worried about it if it was something worse that she ran into. This angers her, telling him that she can fight them off on her own. She was taken aback when he took her by the shoulder, and he tells her that he won't let a cute girl wander around at night alone. He will pick her up when she comes late and take her home if it's late. Flustered, she tells him she will start calling him from now on. Oyama pulls out his phone to report the incident to the police, while a blushing man thinks about how he called her cute. Their relationship is gradually shifting. He wonders how much longer they can pretend otherwise. Akutsu is in a bad mood and Oyama is debating whether to ask her about it when she starts talking on her own about some girls going to the sea for the summer holiday. She's upset because she thinks she's too fat. To prove her point, she lifts her shirt to show her stomach and pulls out her phone to show a picture of her wearing a two-piece swimsuit from last year. Oyama is surprised by the photo, but admits that she was more toned last year. She declares that the only option is to go on a diet. When Oyama questions why he must go on the diet, she says it's because he cannot bear to see him eating candy. She leans on him from the back and promises that if he participates, they will choose her swimsuit together. Oyama decides to go along because he has also gained weight, and Akutsu is wondering why she made a promise of picking out the swimsuit together. It seems like their relationship is progressing in a strange way. The moment Akutsu saw the cat, she immediately shrieked in happiness. The landlady left it there for the day. He learns that day that she likes cats. The cat is cute, and she asks him what's her name. When she found out that the cat's name is Riko, the same as her name, the inevitable teasing started. She insists that he called the cute cat by its name. He exclaims that if she knows he's embarrassed, she should stop messing with him. She wonders why they both have to share the same name. She still made him say the name, so he gave in and said the name. As expected, Akutsu responds to the name even though it's the cat that he called. He realizes that he can use the cat to call out Akutsu's name as much as possible. When she says the cat is cute, he responds by saying that Riko is indeed cute. He takes the cat and continues to talk to it. As he walks away and focuses on the cat, Akutsu is becoming even more flustered as she hears her name being used affectionately for a cat. She questions why she is constantly feeling this way because of him. It is an incredibly hot day, and Akutsu is complaining about the temperature and her sweating. She asks Oyama if the AC is still broken. He tells her that the AC guy will come tomorrow. Oyama is flustered as Akutsu's legs are spread apart. Suddenly, he smells a pleasant odor which is a combination of sweat and something else. He finds the smell to be sussy and feminine. Akutsu notices that he is covering his face and assumes he is mocking her smell. She gets mad and forces his face towards her armpits. He thinks that this is bad. The fragrance is making his head spin. He pleads with her that he's had enough but to no avail. He feels his consciousness slipping. Akutsu is startled when a clearly not-so-conscious Oyama exclaims that he loves her smell so much that he wants to smell her forever. Embarrassed, she asks him what he's saying. She asks if he was kidding. When he suddenly hugs her, she panics and tells him to stop sniffing her. She exclaims that she will kill him, so he better let go. After that, he lost consciousness. Akutsu is holding a bag of chips when she asks the unsuspecting Oyama to open it. He tells her to open it herself. She exclaims that it's stuck. She adds that she thinks he's looking strong lately. At first, she thought that it won't work because flattery is too obvious, but to her surprise, it does. He opens the bag of chips, saying that he really doesn't have a choice. She realized that the compliment raised his spirit. Boys are like that, she thought. Give them a little praise, and it will make them proud. It's simple, yet effective, and she wonders how far she can push it. She tells him that she needs to go to the toilet and asks him to carry her. He was confused at first, but she started complimenting him again. She tells him that it will be easy for him because of his strength. She even adds that he looked cool. After hearing all that, he confidently lifts her up with his arms. She tells him how impressive he is, while thinking about how hilarious the situation is. She is, however, genuinely impressed, as she did not think that he would be able to hold her up. That is when she notices that he is in fact struggling to hold her. He was trembling, and she is incredulous as to how he is tired already. She tries to convince him to let her down because she needs to use the toilet, but he insists that he is perfectly fine, clearly wanting more praises. They argue back and forth with her wanting to be put down and him wanting to carry her. They stayed like that for 5 minutes. She keeps on pleading with him to put her down because she needs to pee. She barely makes it in time, and she learns to never mess with him in this way again. While they are in school, sitting in their classroom, Masaki, Yoko, and Akutsu are having a conversation. Masaki suddenly tells Akutsu that she hasn't been hanging around with them, even though they used to do so all the time. Oyama, who's sitting not far away from them, overhears the conversation. He wonders if she can handle the situation without revealing that she's been hanging around at his place. To their surprise, Yuoko mentions that she saw Akutsu entering someone's house. She then proceeds to speculate if it was a boy's house. The conversation is clearly taking a bad turn. A shocked Masaki immediately asks if she was seeing someone. Akutsu, who's clearly flustered, is having trouble answering their questions. Oyama is equally agitated, for even though she promised him that she would keep quiet about his room, he still worries she'll be fine. As her friends continue badgering her with questions, wanting to meet the guy she's been seeing, she is able to see them with a firm no. Masaki then immediately asks why not. They have an intense stare-off for a moment before the argument breaks out. Her friends keep on insisting that it's not a big deal to meet him. She tells him that they can't because he's gross and that his place stinks. Her astonished friends instantly ask why she talks like that about her boyfriend. She firmly denies that he's her boyfriend. Oyama, on the other hand, is relieved that she's avoiding talking about his room, but thinks that she's being a bit harsh. That is when Yuoka says that she probably doesn't want them to intrude on their love nest. Akutsu, who's in the middle of arguing with Masaki, is even more shocked by her comment, especially when her friends elaborates by saying she was practically beaming before entering the house. She denies it even more and demands to know how long her friend was watching her. Her friends tease her by stating that she doesn't want them to disturb her flirting time. Akutsu clarifies that he is not her boyfriend and she is not even into him, but at the last minute, with her face looking red as a tomato, she adds that she doesn't dislike him either. Her friends immediately conclude that she really is into him. As the group of friends continue to have their conversation with Akutsu, saying that she will not let them tag along, Oyama feels his heart beating faster than normal. He is affected by what she was saying and wonders if she forgot he was sitting near them. Once again, Akutsu is in his room. She is loudly complaining about how bored she is. She demands that Oyama entertain her. He then tells her that if she is so bored, she should simply go home. This pissed her off and she swipes her fingers across his chest. That's when a soft sound suddenly erupts from him, which makes them both freeze. With a troubled expression, she asks him what that was. He is clearly flustered and is unable to answer properly. Turns out she got him right at the pepperoni. When he recovered, he exclaimed that he was just surprised. She started teasing him about having sensitive spicy pepperonis. He starts denying that instantly and asks her to stop staring at them. He elaborates that it was just sudden and that anyone would react like that. She continues mocking him and tells him that she is pretty sure that her pepperonis can take more than that and that he's just weak. Embarrassed, he asks her what she's even saying. She challenges him so that they should check if his pepperonis is sensitive or not, even adding that she would love to hear that voice again. He burst out, saying that he still doesn't know what she means. She suddenly approaches him with the intention of touching his spicy pepperonis. He panics and backs away frantically. He begs her to stop and that he's had enough. When he suddenly grasps at her melon, she lets out a loud, soft sound. She immediately explains that she was just surprised. He's flustered, thinking of how sussy that was. Hiding her embarrassment, she tells him that the reaction is normal after all. She even teases him by saying that he touched her bakery, although she is clearly thinking about how tingly she felt. He starts apologizing, saying that it's also her fault. As it turns out, both of them are quite weak. Akutsu has been in Oyama's place since yesterday. When she wakes up, she has a cold. She is clearly frustrated, complaining about why it has to happen on this specific day. He observes that she is a lot scarier when she has a cold. He tells her she should rest, but she refuses. She complains about being sweaty, and he responds by offering to get her a towel. However, she asks him to wipe her back himself, saying that she's done it for him before. He tells her that he would do it, but she doesn't have to undress. As expected, she teases him by asking him if her back makes him excited. He relents and wipes her off instantly. She fell asleep eventually, and he thinks that she looks feverish. He decides to buy her a cold compress. Suddenly, she wakes up, and her hand clutches the back of his shirt. He apologizes if she woke her up, but she only has to ask him where he's going. When he replies that he's going to the drugstore, she asks him not to leave her. He is beyond surprised when she claims that she'll be lonely. He realizes that this is what Nicole does to her, and he instinctually wants to take care of her. She hugs him tight and asks him to sleep with her instead. He's conflicted at first, but he gives in eventually. He hugs her back and tells her that he will stay with her until her cold is gone. When she wakes up with the cold gone, she is flustered and horrified at what the cold did to her. She wakes up with him hugging her tightly, debating if she should wake him up or not. In the end, he sleeps for 6 more hours. Akutsu is worried. Oyama is out of juice, and it shouldn't take him this long. He even left his wallet and phone, so there's no way to call him. She's going to wrestle him when he comes back. It's been 40 minutes, and he still hasn't returned. She's becoming even more worried. She thinks that it's weird that he's gone this long when the vending machine is right there. She thinks back on how harshly she treated him today, asking him to buy another juice since he bought the wrong one. She thinks that perhaps he decided to leave, though she hopes he would not do such a thing. She decides to go outside and look for him. When she arrives at the vending machine, there is no sign of him. She looks around for him, yet there is no sign of him anywhere. Suddenly, there was a call from behind her. Oyama suddenly appeared from behind her. He asks her why she's outside. Confused, she asks him where he's been without his wallet. He explains that he went looking for the juice she wants. The store is far away, so he took a while. She's quiet for a while. Then, she tells him she's sorry and grabs his hand. He's astonished by her sudden action. He asks her if she's crying. She denies it, even with a blushing face. He tells her that they should go inside. They make their way inside while she's still holding his hand. He wonders if she was worried about him. Akutsu feels unusually nervous in his room. She notices that Oyama is getting to him. She stares at him intensely. Meanwhile, he feels intense pressure from her stares. She admits that he's a good guy, and she doesn't dislike him to start with, but she's been thinking about him too much. He suddenly calls her with a red face. She answers him. He tells her to fix her skirt. Looking down, she notices that her boxers are exposed. She's still thinking about why her heart is racing too much around him. She decides to tease him instead about how she's wearing her favorite boxers. She attempts to show them to him, but she's suddenly hit by too much embarrassment. She's flustered, even though she's done this before. When he notices that she suddenly stopped moving, he asks her why she's trembling and what's wrong with her. He even asks her if she still has a cold. She denies still having a cold, while blushing hard. He touches her face and says that her face is red. They stare at each other for a moment. Suddenly, she utters the word love out of nowhere. Both of them are shocked by what she just said. She instantly clarifies that she meant he loves her boxers, and even suggests that he's sad he didn't see them. He tells her that he's not sad, he's just worried she still has a cold. She just teased him more, but she felt even more embarrassed. Out of nowhere, she tells him that she wants to sleep, and that he should not talk to her. While Oyama is confused by her actions, fell asleep feeling embarrassed. Akutsu has been standing in front of Oyama's door for some time now. Turns out she's embarrassed to enter his room all of a sudden. She recalls saying that and reassures herself that she was able to make up an excuse for that. She is so embarrassed, she wants to sink to the floor. She tells herself that she does not love him. She decides that she will act as usual. She's about to reach for the doorknob when Oyama opens it. He asks her why she hasn't come in since she's been out there for a while. Not being able to speak, she sneaks past him into the room and slams the door behind her. He starts knocking at the door because she locked him outside. He asks her to open the door while she leans against the door trying to sort out her feelings. Sometime later, while she's under the covers, still embarrassed, he asks her what is wrong with her. Even though she's able to enter the room, she is still quite nervous. She wonders how she will ever be able to handle her feelings. Akutsu's heart races as she tries to maintain her composure in front of Oyama. She's determined to meet his gaze confidently, vowing not to look away this time. However, as she's about to look at him, her cheeks flush, and she quickly averts her eyes, leaving Oyama confused. Frustration wells up within her as she scolds herself for acting like an innocent maiden. Oyama notices her odd behavior and asks if everything is all right. Her blush deepens, but she forces herself to meet his eyes, trying to appear assertive as she insists that everything is fine. She challenges him, demanding to know if what he said earlier is true. In the midst of her internal struggle, Akutsu wonders when Oyama learned to maintain eye contact as he used to shyly look away all the time. However, now he stares back at her, scratching his face in confusion. The intensity of his gaze unnerves her, and she tells him to stop staring, determined not to falter due to her nerves. While Akutsu pushes herself not to avert her gaze, Oyama remains perplexed by her reaction. He later explains to her that he started maintaining eye contact while talking to people because she had mentioned it. He acknowledges that she had a point and made the effort to learn it properly. He also senses that Akutsu has something on her mind, making him even more attentive to her words and actions. Feeling a surge of determination, Akutsu suddenly flaps her coat, prompting Oyama to glance down at her unintentionally. He quickly looks away, and Akutsu believes she has won the battle of eye contact by not looking away. In the end, amidst their awkward yet endearing interaction, both Akutsu and Oyama are grappling with their feelings and navigating their evolving dynamic. As they continue to grow closer, their interactions are filled with heartwarming moments, misunderstandings, and the charming awkwardness of two individuals trying to understand their emotions and each other. As Akutsu enters the room, she notices Oyama handing money to a girl and immediately questions if it's some kind of extortion. Oyama denies it, explaining that the girl is actually the landlady's daughter, Uya, who has come to collect the rent. Curiosity gets the better of Uya, and she teasingly asks if Akutsu is Oyama's girlfriend. Both Akutsu and Oyama are taken aback by the question, quickly clarifying that they are just classmates. Oyama then brings up a noise complaint that some people have made, stating that they have trouble falling asleep because of it. Despite Oyama's reassurance that it's probably just noise from another room, Oya warns him that if they continue to receive complaints, she will have no choice but to ask him to move out. Akuchi tries to explain that they are not even dating and that she only comes to the room to play games and relax, while Oyama buys her drinks. However, Oyama remains unconvinced, pointing out the regularity of her visits, and stays overnight. Finally, Uya leaves the room, seemingly convinced of her suspicions about Akutsu and Oyama's relationship. It becomes evident that Oyama may have a crush on Akutsu, as she finds her cute, and likens her to a character from a love comedy manga, pure and innocent, a type of person she's only seen in fictional stories. Back at home, Uya excitedly tells her mother that she doesn't mind helping out with the rent collection again, revealing her genuine interest in love comedies. She appears to be fully immersed in the intriguing and somewhat amusing relationship between Akutsu and Oyama, being pulled into the captivating tale of their interactions and feelings for each other. As Uya unintentionally becomes a spectator and supporter of Akutsu and Oyama's connection, little does she know that her involvement will lead to unexpected and heartwarming moments between the two, weaving a charming love story amidst the everyday life of high school students. Akutsu can't help but raise her voice as she bombards Oyama with questions about the game that she's playing. Hiki reminds her to keep it down, fearing that Uya will get mad at them again. Curious about the game, she asks if it's the one with the scary face. Oyama shares that he and Uya cross paths again, and he reiterates that she's actually a lovely person. Akutsu becomes more inquisitive, wanting to know what they talked about. Oyama explains that they discussed when she usually comes over, leaving Akutsu wondering why Uya needs to know that detail. In her mind, Akutsu starts to suspect that Oyama might have feelings for Oyama and imagines the two having fun when she's not around. Despite claiming to have no interest in Oyama, she starts to feel annoyed by the situation. As the evening progresses, Oyama advises her to head home since it's getting late. Akutsu begins to think that Oyama might be watching them, waiting for her to leave so she can swoop in. Refusing to go home just yet, she sits closer to Oyama, feeling extremely annoyed, and resumes playing video games. In this somewhat comical and awkward situation, Akutsu's emotions are getting the best of her. The playful tension between the trio adds a touch of humor to their interactions, making the dynamic between Akutsu, Oyama, and Uya all the more intriguing and entertaining. They're sitting too close to each other, and Akutsu can't focus on her game because her arms are stuck together. She notices Oyama trembling and nervous. Seeing Oyama nervous makes Akutsu a little happy. She grins and thinks that it's a chance to get back at him since he's been getting carried away lately. When he's about to sit, she suddenly grabs his hands and puts it in her chest. This makes him really nervous and tells her that his hand is touching her. Then she hugs him from behind as she moves her orbs against him. Oyama asks her if she's doing it on purpose, and she replies that just a touch of melon is enough to get him excited, but in her mind, she's more excited than he is. He says that in the history of everything that's ever touched his back, it's the very best thing by a mile, and she replies that indeed, he got excited and gross. Furthermore, Oyama grabs her from behind and rides her. He begins to rub her fingers in her entire body. A creaking sound from the bed and other noises are heard out loud. Meanwhile, Oyama is outside behind the door, listening to all those noises inside and having a green mind. She thinks she's right that the two were dating after hearing the noises, but Oyama just happened to be passing by. Oyama just finished his shower, and Akutsu is at the karaoke, so it's one of the rare days when he can relax. He forgets his towel, so he steps out of the bathroom naked, But suddenly, Akutsu arrives. He's surprised and begins covering his private parts with both hands. She tells him that the karaoke got cancelled, so she came, but unexpectedly witnessed him naked. He explains that he forgot his towel and asks her to get it instead, so he'll just wait in the bathroom. He can't open the bathroom door since his hands are covering his private parts. But because Akutsu kinda wants to see Oyama's private parts, instead of getting the towel, she begins to take a photo of him, laughing evilly, thinking it's going to be good blackmail material. Meanwhile, Oyama's begging her to stop and just get the towel, but she continues. Later, Oyama had enough and resisted getting the phone from her, but suddenly he slips and accidentally grabs her down. Akutsu is kneeling in front of him, while his hands are holding Akutsu's shoulders. Both of their worlds stopped at that moment. Akutsu yells while looking at him. She's shaking. Meanwhile, Uya sneaks through the door and witnesses what happens. "A lot of progress," she exclaims. Akutsu fainted upon seeing Oyama's stuff. Oyama reassured him, understanding the situation, and telling him there's no need to call an ambulance. Instead of answering his question, she asked if they were not really dating, leaving Oyama confused. Later, Uya suggested he perform a mouth-to-mouth, excited to witness the rom-com trope in reality. Akutsu pretended to be unconscious again when Uya mentioned mouth-to-mouth, observing her with curiosity. As Oyama prepared, Akutsu teased her, wondering if she's getting turned on by the idea of Oyama giving her mouth-to-mouth. Despite the awkward situation, Oyama agreed to do it to help Akutsu. However, before the act, Akutsu got up and called him a secret imagination for trying to kiss her. Oyama explained it was for mouth-to-mouth, but Oya had already left. After ensuring Akutsu was okay, Oyama expressed regret for missing the chance to perform mouth-to-mouth. Akutsu blushed as she looked at the photo, and Oyama desperately begged her to delete it while calling her name, unaware that Uya overheard everything. As Akutsu lies lazily in bed, she contemplates the idea of buying a notebook for her Japanese class. Oyama curiously asks her why she needs one, and she explains that her teacher got upset with her for not having a notebook. She casually mentions that she hasn't bought a single one since high school started. Oyama finds this a bit puzzling and questions why she hasn't bought a notebook yet, especially since the first semester is almost over. He playfully asks her what she even goes to school for, to which she replies with a silly face to sleep. Akutsu nonchalantly says that she can't be bothered and contemplates spending the lesson in the infirmary instead. However, Oyama comes to her rescue and offers her a spare notebook he has. He warns her to attend the lessons properly, otherwise she might have to repeat the year. Upon receiving the notebook, Akutsu observes it, realizing it's the first time she's received something from a boy. She wonders if she should be happy about it, but quickly dismisses the thought, thinking it's no big deal since it's only from Oyama. She thanks him, saying she's happy she won't have to waste time buying a notebook. That's all. Later, while Oyama is in the bathroom, Akutsu notices his last name written on the notebook. A mischievous idea crosses her mind, and she quickly writes her name next to his, even adding a heart. As she gazes at what she's done, she starts feeling a bit nervous about her actions. When returns, he realizes he forgot to erase his name on the notebook, but Akutsu doesn't hand it back to him. Instead, she tells him to let her do the erasing and decides to keep the notebook in her bag, wanting to cherish this small, unexpected gift from him. As she lays in bed, she finds herself thinking about Oyama and the notebook. Little did she know that the simple act would set off a chain of thoughts and emotions, sparking a newfound excitement and curiosity about her feelings for him. From that moment on, the dynamic between Akutsu and Oyama takes on a different tone as they both become more aware of each other's presence and gestures. Each small interaction, whether intentional or accidental, leaves a lasting impression on both of them, slowly weaving their hearts together in a sweet and tender romance. Oyama arrives with a cat named Riko and asks Akutsu and Oyama to watch over her. Despite her initial fear of the cat's scary appearance, Akutsu finds herself drawn to the desire to pet Riko. Uya asks if Akutsu doesn't like cats, but Oyama responds that she actually loves them and was all over the cat the last time they took care of her. Oyama then asks Oyama if he knows the cat's name, to which he replies, a firm yes. Akutsu overhears Oyama mentioning her name and feels her cheeks turning red. Oyama, being a bit playful, urges Oyama to say Akutsu's name out loud. Akutsu covers her ears, feeling embarrassed and flustered by the situation. Oyama finds it amusing and thinks that having the cat and Akutsu share the same name will create some entertaining rom-com material. As she pets Riko, the cat, observing the interactions between Akutsu and Riko, the cat, Uya can't help but comment on how cute Akutsu is, or rather, how cute Riko is. She playfully teases that the scene when they started calling each other by their given names has yet to come. After some playful banter, Uya eventually leaves, entrusting Riko, the cat, to Akutsu's care. For that day, Riko becomes the unexpected bridge that saves the two of them from the awkwardness of the situation as they spend time with the adorable feline. They may not realize it yet, but Riko's presence is bringing them closer together, creating new moments for their hearts to connect. As the temperature rises, Akutsu decides to wear short sleeves, and Oyama can't help but admire her in the new uniform. Seeing her with her hair tied into a ponytail adds to her cuteness, and Oyama finds himself amazed, as he had only seen her with her hair down before. He compliments her, calling her super cute, but when Akutsu questions what he's staring at, he tries to brush it off as nothing and mentions that she just looks different. Curious, Akutsu removes the ponytail. Oyama can't help but react, telling her not to take it off because it suits her very well. She puts the ponytail back on, dismissing his compliment and claiming that it's nothing special. Oyama, however, insists that it does suit her a lot and finds the change from her usual appearance fresh and exciting. He even finds the back of her neck visible in the ponytail appealing, but this embarrasses Akutsu, causing her to cover her neck and tell him not to stare. Oyama starts to panic, realizing he might have crossed a line and possibly harassed her unintentionally. He apologizes and assures her he won't look again and that she should keep the ponytail. Akutsu teases him for calling her stunning, and Oyama admits to speaking his mind without realizing the implications of his words. The two share an awkward moment, but their playful banter and sincere interactions continue to create more lighthearted and humorous situations between them. As Akutsu cleans her ear, she starts to remember the time she did the same thing to Oyama in the past. Curiosity strikes her, and she wonders how it would feel if he were the one cleaning her ears. It's not about Oyama specifically. She's just genuinely curious about the sensation of having someone clean her ears. Oyama is engrossed in his phone when Akutsu playfully calls for his attention, teasing him about wanting him to clean her ears and putting something in them. The innocent way he moves his fingers catches her attention, and she finds herself getting more curious about the experience. Nervous and unsure about what Akutsu means, Oyama asks her to clarify, and she admits that she was talking about ear cleaning. When he notices the ear cleaning stick next to her, he realizes what she meant. Akutsu is taken aback that he noticed it, but she pretends it has nothing to do with her ears and teases him about his ear cleaning fetish. Oyama playfully goes along with her teasing, acting like he's desperately begging to clean her ears. Akutsu humorously agrees, saying it's his last-ditch effort to convince her. Eventually, she lies on his lap and he cleans her ear. The feeling is entirely different, and she enjoys it immensely. Oyama compliments her ear, and the experience leaves a lasting impression on Akutsu. From that moment on, she realizes that her body will never enjoy ear cleaning from anyone else quite like this again. Their playful and slightly flirtatious banter continues to deepen their bond, creating more endearing moments between the two. Uya arrives with some food and hands it to Oyama, explaining that her mom made too much, so she decided to share it with him. She finds herself pondering whether she should stop actively involving herself in their relationship, as she wants to watch over them, but doesn't necessarily have to intervene. Oyama takes a bite of the food, enjoying it, but Akutsu appears visibly upset. She thinks he should react differently, and grabs the food from him, declaring how awful it tastes, and comparing it to her grandma's old socks. Oyama finds her reaction rude, and tries to defend the food. Oyama observes the scene and finds herself feeling a sense of happiness from witnessing their interactions. She wishes for Akutsu to live there forever, without paying rent, just so she can continue to watch their antics. Oyama calls out to Oyama, asking why she's standing at the door and not coming in. She playfully responds that she, a mere mortal, should not intrude into their sacred territory, jokingly referring to their room. She then mentioned that she'll pick up the bowl later. Akutsu seeks cooking advice from Uya, who considers it for a moment and suggests they start right away. Akutsu hesitates and suggests they do it another day. Despite that, their interactions have brought them closer, and their friendship continues to grow in this fun and heartwarming atmosphere. In the classroom, the teacher asks to wake up Akutsu, and someone in the class jokingly remarks if the teacher is afraid of waking her up herself, since Akutsu supposedly reacts violently to anyone attempting to do so, except for Oyama. Later, Oyama tries to wake Akutsu by shaking her, as he would at home. Suddenly, Akutsu awakens and kicks him. She sternly tells him not to talk to her at school, to which he responds that it happened unintentionally. Oyama feels genuinely frightened by Akutsu's reaction, realizing how scary she can be sometimes. Akutsu then shows him her phone, expressing concern about everyone making fun of her. She worries about facing school the next day. In her half-asleep state, Akutsu is more open and at home, but her anger and frustration are still evident. She's convinced that Masaki, likely her friend, took the embarrassing video of her. She contemplates drastic solutions like dropping out to avoid the embarrassment. Blaming Oyama for the situation, Akutsu expresses her anger, but Oyama apologizes and promises never to wake her up at school again, though he knows it's too late to fix the situation. Oyama talks to himself about wanting to protect Akutsu's cute side from the other guys. Akutsu overhears and angrily tells him that she's not cute and that she won't forgive him just for calling her cute. As the next day arrives, everyone receives the video, including Oyama. Akutsu asks him to delete it, and she ensures that everyone deletes their copies of the video. Despite the embarrassment, their friendship remains strong as they navigate the challenges and humor of their everyday lives. Once again, Akutsu finds herself in Oyama's room as if it's now a natural part of her daily routine. This time, she notices something different about him. He seems uncomfortable. Concerned and curious, she decides to ask him what happened. Without hesitation, Oyama shares his recent experience. Some guys at school wanted to wake up to see if she would react as cute as she did when Oyama woke her up. Before they could approach her, Oyama stepped in and intervened, which resulted in him getting beaten up. The idea of Oyama protecting her fills Akutsu with admiration, causing her cheeks to blush. She pictures him as a brave knight in shining armor, although he might not have appeared that way in reality. Regardless, she keeps her thoughts to herself. Trying to hide her blushing, Akutsu playfully teases him, asking why he felt the need to stop them when she could have handled the situation herself. She even suggests that maybe he didn't want other guys to wake her up for some reason. However, Oyama remains unresponsive, leaving her demanding an answer. Finally, he decides to reveal the truth. Those men had ulterior motives. Akutsu is left dumbfounded and flushed. She remembers what he said the other day about not wanting others to see her cute side, and now it's evident he's willing to get hurt for her sake. Instead of showing her flustered self, she starts teasing him, finding it lame to be protected by someone weak. This might have made him feel small, prompting him to apologize, but Akutsu isn't finished expressing herself, her gratitude. Softly, she thanks him while patting him, a departure from her usual teasing and dominant demeanor. He's shocked by her unexpected behavior, and she's stunned as well because it wasn't what she intended. Stammering, she tries to save face by claiming she's just checking his band-aid. In the midst of making excuses, she musters up the courage to tell him that no one else is allowed to wake her up at school except him. Through that, she's letting him know that they can now interact with each other in school. Another day of bothering Oyama begins for Akutsu, as she enters his room and finds him struggling to reach his itchy back. Without delay, she offers help, but he questions whether it is genuine assistance she is offering. Being her usual self, Akutsu doesn't help right away. Instead, she teases him first. Playfully, she slides her fingers and makes circles around his back, making it even itchier. When he can't take it anymore, she stops and asks where the itchy spot is. But that doesn't mean she'll properly help this time. After all, teasing Oyama is too much fun. To provide better access, Oyama takes off his shirt, which flusters Akutsu. Memories flood back, embarrassing ones of when she saw him fully naked. She becomes too shy to move or speak, and her teasing plan backfires as she can't bring herself to touch him now. Oyama notices her hesitation and calls out to her, which startles her, leading her to scratch his back recklessly. When she finishes, he puts his shirt back on and thanks her, but Akutsu is too preoccupied, feeling secretly imaginative by her own thoughts. As they walk side by side towards Oyama's house, it's a normal routine for the two. Akutsu usually asks if he got a new manga. However, their normality is disrupted when they hear a familiar voice. To their surprise, it's Akutsu's friends approaching them. She freezes on the spot, unable to move. Her friends start questioning why they are together. As they get closer, Masaki, one of Akutsu's friends, recognizes Oyama's house from the other day when they saw Akutsu leaving. Feeling nervous, and as if she is caught red-handed, Akutsu starts rambling, attempting to create a perfect alibi. She explains that Oyama is just her errand boy, and she hangs out at his place instead. Masaki connects the dots and understands that Akutsu's cuteness around Oyama makes sense. Now, to confirm her suspicions, she playfully teases Akutsu, saying that they also want to hang out at Oyama's place. As expected, Akutsu denies the idea and even speaks negatively about Oyama, calling his room ugly and dirty. To test their friend's denial further, Masaki and the others step close to Ryama, clinging on to him, trying to convince him to let them hang out at his place, just like he does with Akutsu. The girls persistently try to persuade Oyama, even going as far as to offer to do naughty things with him. He's beyond flustered, and pleads for Akutsu's help. While Akutsu stands there watching, she can't help but feel consumed with jealousy. Unable to bear it any longer, Akutsu shouts, catching everyone off guard. She yells that Oyama is hers alone. Realizing what she said, she starts rambling to defend herself, claiming she's not jealous and that he's her exclusive errand boy. Her two friends are also flustered by her outburst, but satisfied with the revelation of how serious Akutsu is. even though she denies it. They wish happiness for the two and hastily leave before Akutsu can do anything. Now alone, neither of them can look at each other, especially Oyama, who is still fazed by Akutsu's words. He's rooted to the ground and unable to speak. Akutsu wonders if her friends caused him trauma, but in reality, his mind is simply filled with thoughts of her. The two are reading manga at Uya's place, and Akutsu borrowed a rom-com manga from Uya. Although it's unexpected, Akutsu is surprisingly engrossed in it. Despite initially ranting about how it doesn't suit her taste for violence and action, as she reads, she becomes addicted to the manga, and thoughts of Oyama start filling her mind. She wonders what it would be like to date him, and quickly dismisses the idea, taking a pause from reading. However, she can't help herself, and picks up the book again. This time imagining romantic scenarios with Oyama, blushing as she does so. In a trance, she envisions innocent dates, shopping together, lovingly feeding each other ice cream, and even having intimate moments in a family together. Lost in her thoughts, she becomes unresponsive to Uya, who tries to engage her and ask about the manga. Unaware of the extent of her own effectiveness, Uya hopes her strategies are working, but little does she know that they are even more powerful than she imagined. Akutsu enters the apartment once more and Oyama stops her asking if she could give him the mail since she's going to his room. In the mail, she discovers that it's Oyama's birthday, a fact confirmed by the lane lady's daughter, who suggests that he'd be happy to receive a gift. Entering his room like an owner, Akutsu hands him the mail and mentions his birthday. Before he can respond, she starts teasing him about not getting any presents, though she secretly got him something. Overthinking the situation, she wonders if it's normal to buy a cake for someone's birthday and how to give it to him, which leads her to tease him even more. This puts Oyama in a foul mood, causing him to slump onto the bed, and that's when a cake falls from a plastic, surprising him. True to her nature, Akutsu can't simply give it to him. Instead, she takes the cake and claims it's not for him. She bought it for herself. She continues to feed him this facade, pitying him for not receiving any gifts, and offers to take the cake for him, pretending it's just an act of kindness. Despite claiming to give the cake out of pity, Oyama appreciates the gesture so much. He's used to being the one who gives her gifts, and now it's the other way around. Though Akutsu thinks her lie is going smoothly, it's clear that it's not. Seeing how happy he is with the simplest present makes her blush. The thought of him being happy on his next birthday brings her joy as well. She contemplates giving him a proper gift next year, but the thought slips out, and he hears it. To hide her embarrassment, she teases him once again, saying he must be thrilled to celebrate his day with a girl, but his mind is focused on her plans for next year, and the thought overwhelms him with happiness. His heart is about to burst at the idea of her doing something special for him. Today, Akutsu looks different from her usual teasing self. She's beaming with happiness. The cause: summer holidays are starting tomorrow. She can't contain her excitement, and Oyama can clearly see it. He tries to remind her to calm down, but she's unstoppable, enthusiastically listing all the things she wants to do during the break. Despite her radiant energy, Oyama appears gloomy beside her. Akutsu notices the dull aura around him and asks why. Without hesitation, he confesses that a summer without her would be lonely, but he quickly takes back his words. Her heart flutters with the realization that his words have left an impact on her. Secretly, she's already planning to spend her summer in his apartment. Playfully, she starts teasing him, repeating his words as he denies them. Akutsu continues to pester him, urging him to admit that he wants her to visit during the summer. When he remains stubborn, she clings on to him, playfully putting her weight on his back. To end her antics, he finally says the word she wants to hear, causing her to blush, though she tries not to show it. As they sit on the bed, she anticipates a possible confession from him, and her heart races with excitement. However, nothing comes out of his mouth. To dispel any assumptions, and since he asks nicely, she agrees to visit him. But along with the promise comes a warning. He should be prepared to handle her every day. On the first day of summer, Oyama hopes to create memorable moments, but Akutsu's mood is gloomy, worse than before. She's unable to fully enjoy her summer due to remedial classes for failing a test. To add to her frustration, a sudden call from school interrupts her peaceful sleep, and the rain ruins her plans to go to the pool. Oyama is also upset at the thought of not seeing her in casual clothes. Out of frustration, she unexpectedly takes off her clothes, revealing the bikini she prepared. Oyama is shocked and panicked, urging her to not strip in the room, but she did it unknowingly. Seeing him flustered excites her, and she playfully teases him to look at her body, showing it off while he can't even bring himself to look. Teasing him is her way of relieving stress. She forces him to look at her and compliment her, but in an awkward moment, he accidentally pulls her bikini string, revealing her large melons. In reflex, she slaps him, making it an unforgettable and eventful summer indeed. It's the bloom of the holidays and Akutsu is spending her days in an apartment. Today, she is already there quite early. She's all cozy in his bed, dozing off. He approaches her and asks about her ongoing remedial work, but as expected, she is not attending it. Her mother has been forcing her to attend, but she is definitely not spending her summer at school, so she pretends to attend and comes over to his apartment instead. She reasons that it is better to bear with it for a few weeks so she can spend her summer peacefully. But he cannot raise his concern because he's enjoying her presence too much. They're about to play a game. She thinks it's Masaki, but as she answers it, it is not the familiar voice of a friend, but a teacher. Already in panic, she doesn't know what to do, but Oyama is there to save her. He picks up the phone with a different voice and he pretends to be her father and starts making excuses that his daughter is sick and is unable to attend the classes, and so she's able to escape the teacher for the meantime. She thanks him, but of course she has to share that he sounds nothing like her father and starts teasing him about how he must have wanted her to stay with him. Surprisingly, he did not even deny all of her accusations. He admits that he wants her to stay in her room or else summer will be boring. This makes her feel flustered, but to hide it, she starts jokingly accusing him of being a secret imagination. They keep on bantering while pushing each other. They look like they're definitely having fun. Well, except that the next morning, the teacher learns about their antics. Well, it seems that not all days of summer are sunny. The rain is pouring outside when Akutsu suddenly wakes up from her slumber, startled by a nightmare. As she opens her eyes and returns to her senses, silence surrounds her, instead of the expected voice of Oyama. Maybe he's at the store, but fear begins to creep in, the remnants of her haunting dream lingering. She does not mind being alone, but she feels that urging him to return quickly should not be an issue. Her thoughts race and her hands tremble as she attempts to call him. With hopeful anticipation, she expects him to answer, but instead, a roaring tone fills the room. He's left his phone behind. The whistling sound of the wind and the thundering storm intensify her anxiety. Then, in a sudden turn of events, the door swings open, revealing a soaked Uya. The two had met on their way home and got caught in the rain. The apartment's owner offers a towel to the lady. Oyama is about to fetch one, when he notices Akutsu trembling, and without hesitation, she jumps at him, clinging on to him despite his wet clothes. The sweet sight from earlier is now gone and is replaced by an awkward atmosphere. The embarrassment of what Akutsu did dawned on her. She even got wet because of the tight hug. Her shame goes up the roof when she realizes that they stayed like that for 10 minutes. The awkward air consumes the two, and the only person who is happy despite everything is Uya, as she is seen grinning while staring at them. The storm continues to send heavy rains on land. It sure is dangerous to go home. Akutsu thinks that she should stay, but after what happened, she is overly conscious and embarrassed. She's already panicking and unable to think rationally on what to do. She's fidgeting around when he calls her and offers what she's been thinking about, to stay for the night. The atmosphere is again tinted with awkwardness, but she accepts his offer immediately with no hesitation. It makes her blush that he offers her to stay willingly. With that, she can't stop smiling, but of course she doesn't want to show it. Looking around, he notices that one of them is gone. It's Uya. She goes on under the rain to give the two some private space they need, thanking the typhoon for letting Akutsu stay overnight. As she plans to stay over, she notices the boy acting fidgety, which piques her curiosity. She wonders if he is hiding something from her. Suddenly, he inches closer, gazing intently at her, and she wonders if this could be the moment they've been longing for, the first intimate night together. However, to her surprise, he extends his arm and offers reassurance, telling her not to fear the raging typhoon, because she's with him. He perceives that she might be scared of the storm, so he earnestly offers his comfort. Blushing at his genuine concern for her, she's deeply touched by his thoughtfulness and the unexpected gesture of a hug. Initially hesitant, dreading the possibility of another awkward moment, she tries to resist the urge to embrace him, but as if enchanted by some unspoken connection, her body moves on its own, and she finds herself enveloping him in her arms, relishing the warmth of his presence. Akutsu is on a friend trip with Masaki. They are in a pool. It is indeed quiet without her. He is just scrolling through his phone when a message from her pops up. It is a picture of her in a bikini, and she is asking for his opinion. His heart is beating rapidly at the sight of it. Instead of answering the message directly, he replies about how fun it must be. He is already flushed by the sudden message, overthinking that she will surely mock him. This time he replies with his thought that it looks cute. She even replied that they will see each other soon, and that she will make him feel great. Then a video of her friend touching her planets pops up. Oyama is already feeling weak and flustered with all the messages when suddenly a series of popping notifications come. It is her again, but the tone of the message is different. She is already outside his room and she reminds that he should not save any of the pictures she sent. Confused, He walks up to the open door, only to find a flustered and blushing face of Akutsu. She immediately explains that it was not her, but Masaki who sent him all those pictures. She's even defending herself from the video, saying that they only took it for fun. She's already ranting about everything that he chooses not to tell her that he saved all of those. As usual, she's in his apartment again, hanging out. Aku's favorite manga will be released in 2 days, according to Oyama, but unfortunately, she is not available by that time. She informs him that she got invited to a barbecue night with some tan boys from the university. The moment he hears this, his ears ring with jealousy. The thought of her mingling with boys is already making his blood boil. His jealousy is obvious, and she even notices it. She's asking why, but of course, she already has an idea of what the reason is. It must be the boys. She starts reassuring him that she really doesn't want to go. It is such a relief to him. Now she's asking for the reason why he doesn't want her to go. Well, it's obvious, but she wants to hear it. Knowing that he is jealous is making her heart happy. She wants to hear from her that he wants her to stay. She is testing him that she will attend if he does not say the reason why. Feeling a little defeated, he has no choice but to express himself. So, like a kid, he pleads with her not to go, but he is still not able to tell the reason. She is pressing him to tell her, while admiring how cute he looks. As water splashes on Oyama's face, he realizes the situation he's in with Akutsu alone in the bathroom is not good. Let's rewind why they're there. It all started when Akutsu forced Oyama to explain why he didn't want her to go to a barbecue party with her friends and some tanned guys. Unwilling to confess his true feelings, he made an excuse to get her to accompany him to the beach. The catch was, she didn't know how to swim, but she still wanted a beach-like experience. Now both of them are wearing swimsuits in the bathroom, pretending to be at the beach or pool. Akutsu hands Oyama a bottle, asking him to apply sunblock on her to enhance the illusion. However, it turns out to be body wash, but she brushes it off as part of the experience. Reluctantly, Oyama applies the sunblock to Akutsu's back, admiring her slender figure. Unaware of his actions, Akutsu warns him not to do anything dirty, but for him, it's already a delicate situation. He didn't even realize his hands were moving inappropriately. When it's Akutsu's turn to apply the sunblock on Oyama, she jokingly asks if he's having fun, to which he plainly admits that he is. Teasingly, she suggests he might be thinking of something lewd. Out of nowhere, Oyama thanks her for the beach experience, leaving her flustered and unable to reply. After a few quiet moments, Akutsu tells Oyama to wrap up their beach experience. As they attempt to stand up, she suddenly slips on the floor, falling directly onto Oyama. Their faces instantly turn red as they realize the compromising position they're in. Clearly, Oyama's trip has become quite slippery. Akutsu is furious because of the mosquitoes bothering her. Despite Oyama telling her to calm down, she's been battling with them for a while. In desperation to get rid of them, she lays down on the floor and volunteers to be the bait, asking Oyama to kill the mosquitoes whenever they land on her. This leads to a thought crossing Oyama's mind. He wonders if her order gives him implicit permission to look at her body. Suddenly, a mosquito lands on her face, and she asks him to kill it. However, seeing her face, he can't bring himself to do it. He apologizes, worried that he might accidentally hurt her in the process. Akutsu's heart races, touched by his gentleness and concern for her. However, all of those tender feelings vanish the moment he unexpectedly grabs her melon when a mosquito lands on it, causing her to shout in surprise. His gentlemanliness seems to have disappeared as he acts more like an animal in that moment. While holding Akutsu, Oyama knocks on Oyama's bedroom, and the moment he opens the door, she asks him if he can let her sleep in his room. It turns out that Uya saw Akutsu outside, and Akutsu told her that she was hanging out with friends the entire night. Uya brought her home since she looks too sleepy to go home. However, Oyama's also about to sleep as he spent his entire night playing video games, but Oyama jokes around, saying they should just sleep together. Too sleepy to decline, Akutsu and Oyama actually went to the bedroom and slept together. It was a shock for Oyama. She enters the bedroom and admires how cute they look together under the blanket. She feels so happy seeing them when suddenly Akutsu holds Oyama's hands. It's her habit to grab and hold things nearby while sleeping. It surprises Uya. She's secretly shrieking out of happiness as she witnesses Akutsu doing her habits while they were sleeping. Suddenly, Oyama hugged Akutsu, dreaming that he's hugging his cat. She's shocked by what's currently happening. One blink of an eye, and they're both already inside the blanket. She couldn't really see what's happening inside, but she presumes that things are starting to get steamy. But instead of going out of the room, Uya stayed inside, thinking that she might as well enjoy the show no matter how many hours it lasts. The next morning, Suzuki and Tanaka decide to go to Oyama's house to pick up Akutsu, but when they arrive, Akutsu is still sleeping. Tanaka is disappointed as Akutsu isn't going to show up in remedial classes, and they're going to be in trouble, too. but the disappointment in their faces quickly vanishes as naughty expressions replace it. They suddenly ask Oyama if they're taking things to the next level since Akutsu's been going in his house pretty much when the holiday started. His cheeks flushed with embarrassment, and he quickly denies it, telling him that they're just friends, but they don't believe it. Tanaka even tells him that she doesn't understand why Akutsu is dating him. It's probably because he's a wonderful companion behind closed doors to the point that she is always craving his touch and can't live without him anymore. It's humiliating enough to Oyama to hear those things from them. He tries to defend himself by saying that they're not dating and only went out once when they went to the beach. But as soon as they hear the word beach, they suddenly ask him if he saw how big Akutsu's melons are and if he touched them. However, despite their constant teasing towards Oyama, he seems to be not very interested. But it's actually the opposite.